Birdhouse Dynasty show, and tonight's startup review live with the Bestball Bruni, Justin Bruni. How you doing tonight, Justin?
Doing well, doing well. Happy Sunday. Another week up, another week down in this off season. Very excited. I think it's 7 more Sundays until NFL kickoff, so we're chugging right along here.
Yes, we've got the Hall of Fame game coming right up.
Yep.
Very excited. Training camp as well. Many questions going on there. We'll get to. But first, you had a busy weekend, Justin.
hmm
Scott Fishbowl. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir. Today I went to Baltimore live draft for Scott Fishbowl. Last year I was in Philly, and it all kind of circulates like where I go based off of like the dates available for the drafts because it's also my wife's birthday this weekend, and then it's my daughter's birthday like the very first week of the month. So it's always like kind of picking and choosing like where I can sneak this in. Wife was
Sure.
very accommodating today. After I really spoiled her after past couple of days. You got to put in that work, got to put in that time.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Yes.
Scott Fishbowl was a ton of fun. Always is. This year again, like any other year in Scott Fishbowl, new rule book. Just completely throw out the previous game that you thought that you knew how to play, and you got to relearn. You got to go into last
Yeah.
year's points. You got to see how some of these guys can finish, like what their potential ceilings are. This year, there are no positions. There's no locked-in positions. So, in, of course, ultimate fashion, I've gone a complete literal zero RB approach. We've gone through 11 rounds, and I have yet to draft a running back. I do have my two quarterbacks, though.
That's just insane. But
It
it's
is.
cool. It's cool how he uh, plays around with the format, and that's kind of what's something that we did with our Birdhouse number 4 league
Mm-hmm.
here, and this was a startup that we got through. What, a couple
Couple
weeks
days.
ago?
Yeah, a couple days it
Yeah.
took, I feel like, right?
Yeah, at least a couple days. Yeah, the first day we got through nicely because we did
Mm-hmm.
that 5 minute per pick
Yeah, that
on a
was good.
Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
But which is not the norm. Normally, we like to do
Well,
slow draft for the
for
whole
like a 30
thing.
round
But
draft, I think that's a very good idea. That's definitely a good start. Get things moving, nice and fast, nice and quick. Builds the interest too. Because if you had like 30 rounds where you're taking like 8 hours, 10 hours, like that's just, I mean, it's just what a trudge that would be. So kind of getting everybody like really invested. Like, okay, I know my team build. I'm kind of anxious for my next pick. Anxious for my next pick. I know it definitely slowed down like the last 4 rounds because we're just not excited for those players as much.
no, but it is best ball, and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
all matter, right? Well,
Exactly,
let's go ahead and
exactly.
bring up the board here, and we'll get into the format. So once again, the format here was a 12-team dynasty best ball, Superflex, tight end premium,
Mm,
start 2 tight end. So the start 2 tight end really played into things. And now here I've got about the first 10 rounds up here
mm-hmm.
on the board. Justin, you were in the 11 hole. And so again, we did 5 minutes a pick for the first 10 rounds on that Sunday night. And so you were in the 11 hole,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you didn't make any deals ahead of time. I think I got one or two in. What were your thoughts going into the draft, like with the 5 minute clock, and then what you were looking at probably getting at the 111 and 202 there?
Yeah, I mean, I felt really good about that position just because this year, especially just doing so many best ball drafts by the time that we had already started, you could see the writing on the wall that even like in a dynasty format, the turn is going to be very friendly to you. And yeah, I absolutely prioritize youth. It's still super flex, so I wanted to get out of there with, a good young quarterback. I am a Bears fan, so a little bit of a nudge of favoritism towards Caleb Williams. But like in his instance, he's a young player that looks like he should break out in year two. So yeah, I mean, I felt very comfortable with my start. Obviously, again in Superflex, you have to get the priority for the quarterback in there. Purdy is a guy that I can trust at least for another handful of years, and that's kind of my expectation always coming into any type of dynasty league is that I want to shoot for a 3-year winning, opportunity, right? Like I can reset after 3 years, so that I just don't overcompensate myself with youth. I think you can tell just from how I drafted through like the first 6 to 8 picks, like we kind of weaved and bobbed. We definitely went young heavy to start, but you definitely have to mix in some experience and guys with higher ceilings despite their age.
Yes. And so, of course, you see, yeah, you got Caleb Williams in the second round, and then you went DJ Moore
Mm-hmm.
in the fifth round, and that was at the beginning of the fifth. Now, you picking later in the first gave
Mm-hmm.
you that third round reversal
Mm-hmm.
advantage. And as you mentioned, that is, it seemed to be, I've done 3 or 4 startups already so far. Actually, I'm finishing up a fourth one right
Mm-hmm.
now. And it definitely seems like it's the advantage to be picking at the back end of the first this year, at least.
No, definitely.
Just
Like
because, yeah, the value that's still falling to you in the third round is immense.
No, 1,000%. I love Marvin Harrison. He's an easy click for me. Third round in a dynasty draft like this, or just in best ball mania. He's a clear candidate for a year 2 breakout. Had some nice polished numbers for like a red zone threat in year 1. Confident he's gonna take a leap forward in year 2.
Yeah. And so then, like I said, yeah, you followed it up with Purdy, very
Mm-hmm.
solid quarterback there at the back end of 4. And then at the start of 5, you went DJ Moore, and I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to ask you because you are a Bears fan,
Mm-hmm.
but you went DJ Moore instead of Roma Dunze. And it is Dynasty, but that leads me to believe, and this is one of the training camp things we wanted to get into with
Mm-hmm.
Ben Johnson coming into Chicago, and everybody's excited again about the Bears offense, which we all were about them last year because you had all that talent you signed
Mm-hmm.
for Caleb to throw to.
Yep.
But now things seem, I don't know, it's like almost a post-hype buy again. I don't know what I want to call it with the Bears offense, but it seems clearer without Keenan Allen in the
Mm-hmm.
picture. Yet we still don't know who that Amon Ra role is really going to between DJ Moore and Rome. So can you go over your thoughts there? Obviously
Yeah.
you picked DJ Moore for a reason.
He's to me still the best offensive player in an offense that's about to take a huge leap forward, and for all the reasons that you mentioned, the players that they added, like in the draft, right? Luther Burden, Colson, Loveland. People are arguing that those players are going to take away, from the potential workload of DJ Moore. Everybody needs to realize that the player with the largest target share left last season, that was Keenan Allen. At least like percentage by games played. I mean, DJ Moore still led the team in targets, but Keenan Allen had the biggest target share when he was healthy. He just wasn't healthy, obviously, the entire season. So DJ Moore is going to benefit from, obviously, the available targets. Roma Dunze will as well. And yes, typically in Dynasty, you're going to target the more younger player, right? You're going to go that route. I've just always been a DJ Moore guy, so there is some favoritism from me. But he, to me, is still the best offensive player on the roster. Like, I like DeAndre Swift. He can really benefit and probably have a big year in a Ben Johnson offense. But to me, raw talents and skill, DJ Moore is still that guy. And to your notion about, like, who's going to get the most slot snaps, I like Rome a lot. I think he can play in the slot. But I also think that DJ Moore can. We know that Luther Burden can. And I think for Ben Johnson, there probably shouldn't be a commitment to one guy. I think there being a rhyme or reason at the slot would only lend favor to the defense. And Ben Johnson has been very specific that he's not bringing the Detroit offense to Chicago. He's building something based on the player's strengths in Chicago, and that's exactly what he said he did in Detroit. So if he's doing that, to me, that signals DJ Moore is going to play everywhere. Roma Dunze is going to play everywhere. Same with Luther Burden. And I think that having those 2 tight ends in Cole Kmet and Colson Loveland also help for that because of just the various and different combinations of packages that they're going to be able to roll out. There could be plenty of packages where there's just a single wideout in DJ Moore. Same with Roma Dunze. No receivers on the field with a run-heavy package, and it still winds up going to Cole Kmet or Colson Loveland. So I think that this Bears offense is going to be deeper this year, but I want the top guy. I want the star in this offense. and the Bears have locked in Ben Johnson for the next 5 years, this fits like my 3-year window argument. I think that DJ Moore probably still the better player for you through the next 3 years. Roma Dunze being, I think, like 4 or 5 years younger than him. I think he's like 23. I'm not 100%.
That seems right. I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that really lends favor for him at the very back end, like the shelf of DJ Moore. And I don't think we're at the shelf of DJ Moore yet. I think 3 years at most is when we see him really start to decline, like 30, 31. So definitely solid 2 more years in him, and hopefully I don't have to dump him after 2 years.
Yes. Now I've been lukewarm on DJ Moore. He, I had no bias just because I'm a Tampa fan and against DJ Moore in Carolina. He had his fair share of success there, and then finally when he got to Chicago is when he made that jump with Justin Fields, just the narrow vision towards him and getting him a top 10 season. But now with Caleb coming to Chicago, the Bears have not had I'm old school. Like, I remember Jim McMahon, all right?
Yep.
And
the
Bears have never had.
Told me not to do drugs. Hypocrite.
That's the perfect guy you want coming to your middle school,
amazing.
telling you that.
No one asked a single question about drugs. They all had just questions about the Bears. It was awesome. It was amazing. Classic.
Dude, the '85 Bears were a fun team.
It's
no
also
doubt.
a life sentence when you're born in '89 and you have to live with that poster, in your room from your infancy. Okay, all right, and then you go to the Super Bowl and you know who's at the helm? It's not Jim McMahon. It's Rex Grossman. Okay, not drinking Sixers at practice.
Yeah, so that's what I'm getting to. Like, Rex is the guy who got you to the Super Bowl. Jay Cutler is one quarterback that the Bears at least had that gave you guys hope, right? He had an arm, he had a cannon, but he was kind of a douche, okay? And
Kind
so
of had a little Jim McMahon in him, a little bit.
Right. But now Caleb coming here as like the savior, it's not just like any other 101 getting picked to a franchise. This is the Chicago Bears, and they needed a savior, and so all the hopes on an actual elite quarterback ride on him. So it's a lot of pressure on him on one hand, and on the other hand, though, the team around him has to help him out. And so it's going to be interesting what Ben Johnson can pull together. Like you mentioned, he's not taking the Detroit offense and implementing it here, and you can see that by him drafting Luther Burden, right? He didn't try and draft some deep threat like Jamison Williams. You don't have a guy that's Jamison Williams, right?
Well,
Roman Dunze.
Jamison Williams still went, I think he went 112 his rookie season. Roma Dunze went 9. They're both high-profile receivers. Yeah, they both have different specialities. But Rome specifically, Rome's specific value is in the red zone. He was second on the team last year in red zone targets. As a rookie, he led all rookies in red zone targets. That feels like a safe area to assume that his skill set will be leveraged. But in outside of the red zone, what do we get from him? In an offense that did get deeper, but also has available targets and a much brighter mind, driving the boat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still in on Rome. I loved him in the whole draft process last year. I think he's a better all-around, or potentially a better all-around receiver than Jamison Williams, right?
I'll say this:
and then,
if I don't get DJ Moore in a draft, it's likely I'll get Rome. Like, I will most likely get one of them, and there's a lot to be excited based off of Ben Johnson, like specifically. So I don't think you really go wrong with either. In our format, you give a little bit of leverage to the youth, but I think DJ Moore could be like top 8 receiver for the next couple of years in this offense.
Sure. And so you mentioned the format. I was just curious, what is your favorite underdog format? Because I know that's your
draft?
Correct. Yeah, which dog draft?
I mean, I just lay awake at night dreaming and sleeping nightmares, good dreams, bad dreams about Bestball Mania. So probably that, I guess. I'm just a sicko.
Just the regular.
Yeah, I don't really dive into like all the other stuff or like the short contests. I want to win
Okay.
it all. Yeah, it's. I have a
Yeah.
sick mind. So yeah, I mean, pretty much best ball mania. I've done really well in the big board. Like I hit like 38 to 40+%, but I only typically do like 25 to 40 some odd big boards. So
Okay.
my boss at Fanspeak, he came in fourth in the big board. So we're kind of tight knit on that contest, but I think it's just because again we're just sickos. Like it's January, it's February,
That's
and we want to get our hands
Megan,
dirty.
right? She came in. She came in high.
She
On
came in.
the
She came in fifth in the bulldog.
Okay.
Steve, her brother, came in fourth in the big board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's wild. But of course, you put in the work and it shows, right? I mean, there's tons of different strategies you can use, and if you're interested in getting more advantages in your underdog teams, go ahead and watch Justin's show on Fanspeak for sure. They dive deep into the underdog, and you can definitely get help there. But back to DJ Moore. So I'm guessing you're getting a ton of shares of him on those underdogs, and you landed
he's
him
top five.
here.
He's top five.
Yes,
Like in my total.
and then you grabbed George Pickens, a great best ball player, any best ball format.
Yep.
And then Tyreek Hill. And so Tyreek was one I wanted to touch on with you because this training camp is super important for Tyreek and the whole Dolphins offense. There is almost I don't know if there's another more polarizing offense right now than the Miami offense. And it all rides on the health of Tua.
It does.
If Tua's not healthy, like
Big trouble.
I
Call in the
I
Browns.
guess you,
Call in Cleveland.
unless they can do the Zach Wilson reclamation project.
I
But
just
don't
don't
know if-
see it. I just don't see that working with those two guys. I don't.
I don't
if,
know
Jo-
if
if
Mike
Jonnu was
McDaniel-
there, you might be able to sell me on it because Jonnu is just kind of like proof. Like he's just quarterback proof. He's just like, look, I
Yeah.
made Tua irrelevant. Look at it.
Exactly.
I'm in the same belief. Like if Tua's down, like we're gonna lose this offense. Tyreek Hill is just he's a massive value here. Like going round 7, like I'll take 2 seasons out of Tyreek Hill in round 7. I mean, and again, just like the mold of fitting best ball, like the volatility that's there. I mean, he could easily put up 40 points one week and 8 points the next. Doesn't matter. Don't have to start sit. So he definitely breaks the mold and the template here. And again, that's just grabbing value. I'm not sure how many spots he fell, but I feel like that was not a reach for me.
Well, you grabbed him. Let's just see here quickly. You grabbed him at the 702, which was again after Pickens, after Scary Terry, after Zay Flowers and Rome there. So, I mean, put it this way. You took him ahead of Addison, which I'm totally fine with. I mean, Addison's going to have a few game suspension here coming up. Ahead of JMO. I like JMO, so I was more than happy that he fell there to me. And with his age, I'll take him over Tyreek, but I still get your point in taking Tyreek.
Well, I
Oops,
think
didn't
I
want
think
to-
there is just the target share. That offense
Yeah.
in Detroit, it favors JMO because of, like they haven't really added any threats at receiver, but at the same time, like he just doesn't get a huge target share. Like Amon-Ra is just a huge hog on production. Not to say that he's not a bad pick, but to me, Tyreek still sets the production bar based off of the roster. Like they have him, Jalen. If Jonnu is still there, I think there might be a better argument for a couple of these guys in this round, especially if you just want to prioritize youth and like Higgins or Golden. But to me, that's really the only counter argument. Like I think JMO is also a win now player. He's already been in the league a few years. He hasn't he's broke out, but he hasn't put up like a wide receiver 1 season or anything like that. I think in the realm of potential outcomes, Tyreek is probably closer to finishing as a wide receiver 1 the next 2 seasons. Because again, you're not really looking at him to be there for you in 3 to 4 seasons. So again, it's more of just a win now pick. I feel like he should be going probably around ahead of that. I would probably take him ahead of Pickens still. So I was glad to definitely double tap that there.
Yeah. Now, Jonnu, when you drafted, Jonnu was still in Miami.
Correct.
So you got a W there, I think.
I
I
hope
mean,
so.
I know that Jonnu going to Pittsburgh doesn't look great to a lot of people, but I mean, and they've been totally down on Freiermuth. I just got Freiermuth in round 22 of the draft that I'm doing right
Did you
now.
do like,
I
was
mean,
that a DK draft or?
no,
Or you do another one of these?
It's another dynasty startup. Now, granted,
Okay, gotcha.
there's four IDPs in that one as well, but still,
Okay.
even if you take the four IDPs out
No,
and you put them into round
he's going round
17 or
20.
18,
Yeah, he's going round 20 BBM, so that makes sense. Only 2 more rounds, like you said, with IDP players. I'm into it. I'm into the offense. I like DK Metcalf a lot. I think there's an argument to take DK over Hill in this scenario, but to me, again, when I'm looking at explosivity, potential yak, like a lot of tiebreakers go to Tyreek, but Jonnu, I love. I mean, he's just been that like type of target hog guy. I think he can mesh well in this offense. I was a little sad because I've been in on Calvin Austin, and I felt like that kind of hurts him a little bit. So my late round shares there, maybe not ideal, I'll say, but still into it because the hope is that adding all these little pieces just makes the offense better. All tides rides all boats. So I'm into that. But at the same time, I felt actually better with him kind of stacked up with Tyreek. That was the approach I was going with. Was okay. At least I can get a little bit of a bring back here. And if I'm wrong on Tyreek, I've got somewhat of a safety valve. So that was a part of the thought process of drafting him here.
Sure. And then, so with this Miami offense now, have you been grabbing any Darren Waller?
No.
One of the reasons I'm just asking because some are in on it, and one of the reasons Tyreek struggled last season was the too high defense that teams started implementing on the Dolphins and forcing them to dump off more, and that's what led to Jonnu smashing and Achane smashing as well in the reception department. Now, we all know Achane's going to get his receptions either way, whether the offense is humming or not. For Achane, I love Achane in all formats, really, because either the offense is going to be great and he's going to get double-digit touchdowns, or they're going to suck.
Bad.
Yeah, or they're going to suck and he gets a ton of receptions that way. So, Achane, I mean, I don't know where he went in this one. He went... let me see, right there at the 312. So that's a great deal. I would take him over Bucky and Omarion Hampton. I'll say that he's right behind Saquon for me. As far as Dynasty goes.
Agreed.
As far as Dynasty goes, yeah.
Because I was gonna say Genty's up there. I'm just gonna say I still like Taylor a lot, but he's just been so ridden the past handful of seasons.
Yeah, I mean, in a single season format, sure, Taylor could outscore. Taylor could be the top running back this year. Any year he gets enough work. It's just a matter of that whole offense putting it together for him to actually get enough touchdowns for that to happen. But,
1,000%.
And the same goes kind of for Breece Hall, too. I just, those two, it's hard for me to see those two's offenses being good enough for them to, smash like Derrick Henry last season, right?
Well, for Breece Hall, not to get too off the beaten path here, I think Breece Hall is in a really good situation. Same with Braylon Allen, because the Jets are going to go from like the least rush attempts, like the most rush attempts,
the most,
like the bottom 3 to top 3. So I think the volume is definitely inbound for both of those guys, and I love the value that you get on. I mean, Breece Hall was a round 1 pick 2 seasons ago. Like, I mean, to me, it's a home run when you get that type of, like, same thing with Tyreek. Like, he was a round 1 pick last year. Now he's round 3 in, like, BBM. Obviously, in a situation like this, he can fall due to age as well. But just seeing, like, the shift of ADP from year to year sometimes is just too much. Like, you just have to take some seasons, as not an anomaly, but as a bubble, for the type of reasons that they were. Like, Aaron Rodgers just wanted to sling that rock around. He's like, oh, I got to get Devontae Adams in here. I've got to get Allen Lazard in here. Breece who? No, we don't need to run the ball.
Right.
We don't need to run the ball.
Yeah,
It
no,
was wild. It was wild.
Yeah. So Justin Fields coming in, it definitely helps that out. And now, so getting back to what Justin Fields did in Chicago and that backfield, how it was helped out when Fields was running as well as he was. Let's get to the Bears backfield. So we talked their receiving core and tight ends a little, but you mentioned Ben Johnson isn't bringing the Detroit offense necessarily as a mirror image to Chicago.
Right.
A lot of people are interested in what exactly that means for DeAndre Swift, and then the possibility of Roshan Johnson and Kyle Monangai. I think I said that correctly.
Monangai, I don't know.
I
I don't
we know
think
who we're
Kyle,
talking.
I don't think
the
Kyle's
dude
going to
from
play
Rutgers.
that much. Yeah, I don't think the dude from Rutgers is going to play that much. Definitely think.
So does Rojo get the Monty role? That's what everybody wants to know.
He gets passing downs because he's a blocker. He came in as one
good.
of the best.
Yes.
Yeah, as one of the best rookie blockers in his class. Doesn't have a ton of miles on his legs because he was playing behind Bijan, and the previous administration for the Bears definitely did not use him well. But when they did use him plenty, he did actually put up numbers. So I think there is a lot to be excited about Roshan. And DeAndre Swift, like Ben Johnson knows DeAndre Swift. Everyone is under the assumption that, they got rid of him in Detroit, so it's obviously not going to work out in Chicago. And, hey, I would have agreed with all those people, but it's July, and the two top running backs on this roster are DeAndre Swift and Roshan Johnson. So until something drastically changes, like they were talking about getting Nick Chubb. There was talk about all these day 2, day 3 running backs that they were going to draft. None of them were taken. If that was the case, I would buy into that argument. It hasn't happened. So time to face the music. If you haven't been drafting Swift, if you haven't been drafting Roshan, the time is now. And Roshan's ADP has climbed, period. I'm sure that it has
He's
more
still
so.
a steal, though, probably.
Oh, absolutely. He's still going very late. But the ADP, like when you're talking like 15, 20 picks, that shift, it plays out for you in the long run, especially in like big tournament formats. And something like this where we're doing Dynasty or even like Best Ball redraft, he's going to be there. He's going to be buried on the list because everybody's using that same little ADP chart on Sleeper, and no one's going to get to him until they get to him. Even any like nerd that really has him circled, just completely starred and on the watch list, they're not going to overdraft him. They're not going to want to do that. So no matter what, he's going to go late, period. Like you say, like he's a great value. I think Swift is also still a very good pick. He's a pass catching back, and I think that the quick release offense is definitely the version of Ben Johnson that we're going to see early and often. That was always Jared Goff's biggest thing, is when he could get the ball out fast in the Sean McVay offense, his passing completion and QBR rating was through the roof. He would just need to get the ball out in less than 2.5 seconds. Anything that he held after that, it was a completely drastic fall in production, percentages, and completion rate. So I think the quick release offense is definitely going to be in favor early and often, because that's how you just take away some of the accountability from the quarterback and you put it kind of like on the whole team. So you're looking at short yardage plays, more screens, and things like that. And I think that he has the creativity and definitely the weapons in this offense, to implement that early and often. So I think Swift is definitely a guy that can get 5 to 7 catches on a good week. And Roshan is definitely a candidate for being, just a red zone, dog, like just getting a ton of touches inside the 10.
Yeah, in the best ball startup I did prior to this one, I landed Swift. I got him, I think, a round later than you grabbed him in this one. And I was more than happy because I see him as, depending on how the offense goes, and you mentioned that release time, of 2.5 seconds. It'll be interesting to see if Caleb can do it. That probably is what hinges on the success of this offense. Is Caleb
is a
able to?
That likes
He
to
hangs
hang
on
on
to
the
it.
ball. Yeah, he likes to. He wants to make a big play.
Yeah. So we'll see. But if it happens and it works, Swift can get into the end zone double-digit times. He can be a top 10 running back for you this season, and a huge value. And Roshan is great because, of a Swift injury, Roshan obviously gets more work. But even without that,
through the roof.
Roshan, I love because he's like, so in best ball, I don't want running backs that are just sitting there doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you want to keep as many zeros off your team,
Mm-hmm.
and Roshan is not a zero. Okay, somebody like Manungai, he'd be a zero. Those are the type of backs that I love in lineup leagues because
Mm-hmm.
I just litter my bench with backup running backs that get to play with an injury. But in best ball, you don't want those guys. Roshan is like the perfect cutoff line for me as to if I don't get Roshan and maybe Taj Brooks, depending on if he
Nice.
beats out P. Ryan. Yeah,
There's a whole bevy
that's
of
where
guys
my
back there like that. So Roshan for
Right.
sure. I love the Taj Brooks call out. Also DJ Giddens, same thing. I think those are both guys
Oh yeah.
that can have regular roles week to week. Like they don't fit the mold for a Roshan yet because we haven't really gotten training camp and people are interpreting those secondary roles as having competition. I don't see it. Like I don't see Khalil Herbert, keeping pace
No.
with Giddens. Like Herbert last year had a great opportunity to shine with the Bengals and completely blew it. And I'm a Khalil Herbert fan. It's very disappointing, right? So and then you look at like Braylon Allen, who we just talked about. He's another guy back there. Marshawn Lloyd, if you can believe in the reprise of Marshawn Lloyd in Green Bay. Taj Brooks, you mentioned. There's a lot of late round guys like that I really like. Let me look at the board and see if I see
Even Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, I'm not.
Sneakily.
I
I don't
not,
love him, but
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
know?
It's very lukewarm. Brashad
Yes.
Smith is a name that I click
I
back
love
there a lot.
Brashard Smith.
Jerome
He's
Ford,
my
now,
highest. Brashard Smith is my highest owned player in Dynasty. I have over
Interesting.
10
Okay.
shares.
That makes me feel good about
and-
my best ball shares. Thank you.
Yes, he is like they want him 1-for-1 for Jerick McKinnon.
Yep,
That
that's
is
what I'm
what they
hearing.
drafted him for, and we got to see in training camp if that's what he does.
Right.
No,
I hope he doesn't play. I hope they're like, no, he's sitting. He's not playing a snap of preseason. It's too important.
But we know Pacheco can't play that role, and we know that Kareem Hunt is kind of just there, and
Steal touchdowns. It's so brutal, man. It's so brutal.
But all he's got to do is beat out the dude from San Francisco, Elijah Mitchell. Really,
yeah.
that's what it comes down to, and I think he can do it. I was high on him going into the Senior Bowl through the draft
Disrespect
process.
to Carson Steele, unreal. No, it's a really deep room. It's really upsetting how like unsexy the Chiefs are for fantasy.
Yeah.
It's criminal, and bless them if they still can repeat the success, like the regular season success, again and again and again. But man, don't you just want to have fun? Like
Right.
at some point, don't you want someone like Tyreek? I guess they have Xavier Worthy, but
They have Xavier Worthy, and that
it's so
leads to
brutal.
us to our next training camp battle, so to speak, or I don't know if you'd call it a battle, but Rashee Rice's sentence came down, and now now it's in the court of the NFL basically as to what kind of suspension we get from the NFL for Rice. And so, what do you see that room like in the Kansas City wide receivers specifically? Do you see Xavier Worthy taking another step like he was doing late in the season and into the playoffs? Or do you see it just as long as Rice is playing, he's going to be a top 10 guy? Because I'm high on Rice. I was trying to buy him as much as I can. I'm a little disheartened at the sentence because now I know that the suspension is looming. But, in Dynasty, it's not so bad.
no, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not. I'll be honest with you. In situations like this, I really like to play with the tidal waves of news. So what I would typically do in a situation like this, specifically in Dynasty, is like the second that Rashee Rice got back and played well, I immediately trade him. Like immediately. I just try to chase some over evaluation from somebody in my league and try to steal some value back. It, of course, depends on how my team is doing. But little things like that, when like there's like same thing with like Quinshon Judkins. I would love to sell him if I had him anywhere in Dynasty. The second that he came back and did something good, because someone somewhere is always ready to overreact. on like a big return, a big splash play. Same thing, like if Rashee Rice somehow was only suspended like 2 games and people are like, that's it. Yep, sell. Yep, get him out of, like, I don't care. Because like he's good, but like to other receivers like in his like ADP radar, he's just another guy to me. Like there's plenty of other guys that you can draft over him. They're going to be perfectly fine. Kind of going back to the unsexiness of this offense. I know that Rashee Rice played well when he was healthy before the injury last year, but then he came back and he obviously wasn't as good. I've been splitting hairs with this offense left and right. If I draft some Pacheco, I have to draft more Brashad Smith. If I draft, Rashee Rice, I need to draft 2 shares of Hollywood Brown. If I draft Worthy, I need to draft a little bit of Kelsey. Like, I'm really just kind of going back and forth, and I'm not as interested as I have been because I feel like some of their costs have been inflated. The later round guys like Hollywood, Brashard Smith, I've been more interested in. Between Worthy and Rice in a vacuum, I'm taking Worthy all day. Kind of going back to the offense not being explosive. Worthy is explosive. Terrible Super Bowl, but he still scored 2 touchdowns, had a great finish to the season, and like you were saying, on the rise. So that stock I would be okay buying into, but even at his ADP, he's expensive, especially in a dynasty format where he carries a younger age and more value in that aspect. In regular like Best Ball Mania or larger tournaments, I think he's a good click because you look at his value, you see him with like Patrick Mahomes, that's a good stacking opportunity. But again, like where he's like going is like right in like that prime wide, like that prime wide receiver 2 space.
Up. Yeah,
Rashi is moving up.
No, Xavier Worthy is moving up.
Oh yeah,
and that's where we go back to JMO, like JMO and Addison, that range. Like I'll take JMO 2 rounds later than Xavier Worthy and get basically the same thing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Now we have a question from Amon, not Amon Ra, but Aman. Right now I have Chase, Marv, GW as my wide receivers, going to add to them soon, but can't make a decision between 2 guys. So who would you rather have in Dynasty, Addison or Egbuka?
I'd rather have Egbuka.
That is a good question.
Attached to that Buccaneers offense that is just ready to change the guard at receiver, right? You have Mike Evans, could retire at the end of the season. Chris Godwin, his foot was backwards. Oh,
I know.
It was brutal. I still don't. They're like, it's going to be fine. He's going to be there week 1. And I'm just like, his foot was backwards. What do you mean? Like, that's crazy. The science in the medical field, the advances are crazy. It's insane if they say he's going to be back.
Well, it was not a torn ACL or MCL. It was,
your foot
it was just
direction.
it was a broken ankle, yes. And so
it's just psycho, man. It's psycho. He's a dog, though. Like, the first thing he said, did you see the video, the clip? The first thing he said when he got hurt? Ready to get to work, ready to get back to work. Because he had already been through, like, some injury stuff. So, like, I love him, but he's still at the back end of his career. So, McMillan, who was a spark plug in the offense last year, super high touchdown percentage. Egbuka coming in, who all the receivers love. Like, Evans and Godwin just won't stop praising this guy. And you have a quarterback in Baker that's finished top 10 the last 2 seasons, top 5 last year. So that offense has a ton of momentum. I have no idea what the Vikings offense is going to bring with a new quarterback. Obviously, we know McConnell's going to keep things vertical with whoever's under center. But for all I know, Sam Howell could be starting by week 8 or 9. I have no idea. So I would definitely be looking at the next 3 to 4 seasons having more trust overall in the Bucs, because Egbuka is going to be that guy in 2 to 3 years. Addison, love that touchdown percentage, I do, but I think you should bake in some volatility with a new quarterback, potentially a looming suspension, at least this year. And are you buying Justin Jefferson going anywhere anytime soon?
No, and Addison isn't signed with the Vikings for, you know what I mean? There's no guarantee he's with the Vikings after next season.
That could be good or bad. That's more of a gamble, I would say then.
Yeah, and with Egbuka, Evans, I don't know how much longer he's going to play, and Godwin, he's a dog, and I love his value as well. Where he's going right now, I'll take him in any format right now. The dude was wide receiver 2 when he
He was
got
on
hurt
pace with
last season.
he was on
with
pace
Chase.
with Jamar Chase. Yeah. No, it ruined
Yeah.
my season last year. It absolutely ruined.
Oh, trust me.
I
Yeah, same
had
here.
19 third place teams. It was like the most hard. I've lost sleep for weeks. Yeah, it's just like I said. I live and die in the streets.
I had one team that had Rice, Godwin, and one other guy I can't
Diggs?
remember. But anyway, that went down. So it was just brutal.
Diggs and Godwin were like my combos that like just
Okay.
ruined like all like my high performing teams, my teams that did really well had those guys on them. Even most of those third place teams still had Godwin and Diggs. It just broke me. Yeah, it was just a shell of a person for a little bit. Then we come back. Then the big board drops.
Then
we're fine again.
Yes. Then we bounce back. We always find a way to bounce back, don't we? Yes. So if we go from the Kansas City offense, you mentioned Quinshon a little earlier. Just wanted to touch on that situation. I was able to trade Quinshon in one of my dynasties 4 hours prior to that news dropping. So on Saturday at about noon. I feel sick for the guy, honestly, that I traded him to.
That's amazing.
But it happens. It happens, and it was a one quarterback dynasty league, but I got two firsts for Judkins, and then that news dropped.
You're like one of those guys from the Big Short that like bet the housing market to crash. Holy shit! Jesus Christ! The guy I mean, legitimately, there's an argument that he could never play a snap in the NFL. One video comes out and it's over. One video and his career's over. I'm telling you.
I mean, and he hasn't signed his contract yet. It's a very ugly situation.
You better learn how to speak North Carolina Tar Heels there, Judkins. Oh, my goodness.
So that brings us to, do you like Dylan Sampson now? How far has he been moving up in your underdog drafts, Dylan Sampson?
Maybe 10 picks. Nothing crazy. I mean, he's more expensive than Jerome Ford. Oddly enough.
So is Ford the guy you're diving in, or are you just
in those situations?
It?
I lean to the value. You know, like whenever there's something like this, it's not a good backfield, no matter what.
No.
Dylan Sampson's not going to be great. Jerome Ford's not going to be great. Jerome Ford took a pay cut to be on the team
to stay.
Stay, and they've already said, even when Judkins was healthy, he was there, whatever. You know, he didn't have these issues going on. They said that Jerome Ford was still the starter. That's a problem for really any type of drafting of Judkins or even Sampson. I did a live.
Well, now hold on. Is that just them saying? I mean, a lot of times rookies come in and
win the job.
The incumbent gets to play starter for the first few weeks to show them the offense and push the rookie a little.
That's
but do
the
you
hope.
think?
But the rookie pushed himself potentially off the roster.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Sampson carries enough of a skill set to just like say, hey, Jerome, like get in the bag.
Right. He's not really a full-time 3-down back. I know he did it at Tennessee for the last year, but the year before Jalen Wright was there. So and Dylan Sampson's a good running back. I do not dismiss that. They say he's been catching the ball well and blah, blah, blah. But, again, it comes back to the Cleveland offense as a whole. Like, how much do you really want to be betting on that offense to produce a running back that gets double-digit touchdowns? I mean, Dylan Sampson could lead the team in rushing attempts, right?
Maybe.
But does that get him, 700-800 yards? I mean,
Jerome Ford, he's got like good, I don't know the exact numbers, but he has good explosive ratings. Like when he can get outside and into space in Kevin Stefanski offense, I think he can be valuable. I mean, in my experience with him in like redraft, he's just a floater. He can offer you a high ceiling from time to time, but there's not any consistency for it. So when the pick went in for Judkins on day 2, my reaction was still like, give me more Jerome Ford. This is a crowded room. This is not going to be a good offense. I'll take the value pick. Like, I just didn't see any of these guys being that amazing. Like a situation like the Steelers, like I completely split it right down the middle. Like I want a ton of Warren and I want a ton of Caleb because I know they're both going to play. It's kind of the same with like the Bears. I know that both Swift and Roshan are just going to play. And this system, when there was 3 of them, I was like, I know Ford's going to play a bunch, but I really don't know how much Sampson will play with Judkins there. So now you see it as kind of that split, but I don't know. I feel like they could maybe add somebody, like somebody that gets cut or just somebody that's sitting at home.
Sure.
Get ready to learn Amir Abdullah, like that could happen any minute.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Caleb Johnson. So he was one that I liked. Caleb and R.J. Harvey have been going back and forth between each other. But now J.K. Dobbins came to Denver. And so what do you think week 1 looks like there in Denver? Is J.K. Dobbins leading the team in rush attempts? That's my thought, at least right now. And so I'm definitely leaning Caleb Johnson over R.J. Harvey. I like Caleb's role. He basically supplants Najee Harris in that offense. He's a little more explosive than Najee at this point in Najee's career and in Caleb's careers. So, Caleb looks like somebody who could get to that double-digit touchdown realm because Pittsburgh's offense, well, as boring and as much as we all hate Arthur Smith, at least Rodgers is there, and we all know Rodgers is just going to shake his head yes during the week and then change all of Arthur Smith's play calls at the line anyway.
Jalen Warren a lot. maybe.
Yeah.
I like both of those guys a lot.
No, I think Caleb and Warren both will look good. And so that's one offense I wanted to get into. Some offenses that could surpass their ADPs, right? You've got Steelers are all cheap right now. Even DK you can consider cheap.
I think he's like wide receiver 23 or 27 on Underdog, something like that. It's back there.
If he gets 8+, 10+ touchdowns, which he's going to be the red zone guy for Rodgers, he could sneak into the back end of wide receiver 1.
I think 8 is a very safe number. 8 is a very safe number. If there's any totals out there like 6.5, 7.5, I think 8's a very safe number for DK this year. He tends to lead the league, I think, in red zone targets to begin with anyway. So just a great combination there if he gets no competition.
Right.
Keep Alan Lazard in New York. Just have to do it.
We'll see. The second he gets cut by the Jets, oh, man, he is coming to Pittsburgh.
No, Aaron, stop trying to make Lazard happen, please. No, Aaron. Good God.
But this is the best quarterback DK's ever had throwing him the ball, and he might only know 2 routes pretty well, but that's all Rodgers needs.
Cool. that's fine. Roger loves a good fade.
Absolutely.
And DK is just he's an animal, and I was going to say a dog, but he's like a mythical creature. The dude is just a massive human. Like, he's just a Terminator. Like, him and Derrick Henry are the only guys that I've ever, I think, really dubbed that. Aaron Donald, too, but, getting into this little IDP talk. But, like, those 3 guys are just special.
Oh, yeah. If you got to go into a back alley with an NFL player or 2, those are at the top of the list for sure. So what other offenses do you see? I know I mentioned in our little show notes here Atlanta and New England. New England is just, a bunch of dart throws along with Stephon Diggs, really. But Josh McDaniels is there now. I think I see a little bit more stability with Mike Vrabel coming into town. And, he hasn't had the most exciting offenses, but, A.J. Brown did all right there. And so, of course, Derrick Henry did too. What do you think? I know Travion Henderson is going pretty high in most drafts, all formats. But do you see any other sneaky, like is Ramondre Stevenson going too low? Or is there one or two other wide receivers you like to tap the button on?
I have not been big into Kyle Williams. Demario Douglas is someone that I will occasionally click. I have a lot of Stephon Diggs, probably an unhealthy amount. But I've always just been a believer. When he's healthy, he just produces, and he should be the feature guy in the offense. I really don't draft any Hunter Henry. There's just never enough volume there for me.
Hunter Henry's my guy.
Is he?
He
Yeah.
is. In
I
round 16.
I
Yeah.
really like pushing to like Gesicki and Ertz over
They're,
him.
they're the same boat. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear you.
But,
I'm
but
right with
again,
you.
you get like another round, maybe another round and a half.
Sure.
So typically that's where I'm at between. Like I look at him and I'm like, I like these offenses more. You know, I like Washington. I like Cincinnati just more. If this offense takes a huge leap, yeah, he could potentially get 10 receiving touchdowns, but it's going to be on a ridiculous percentage. You know, it's going to be like up against like 47 catches. It's going to be disgusting. And the rest of the volume, that's what you're just going to bank on is like that, you know, potential touchdown ceiling. But in an offense that got deeper, has more, you know, has better running backs, has a premier receiver, a feature receiver that they can go to, I think it might be harder for Henry to potentially like break out. So, I mean, it's really just dividing it up. Obviously, everybody loves Drake May. He's a best ball darling this summer with the rushing floor that he provided as a year one rookie, while not having any designed runs built in and still averaging 30-plus rushing yards per game. Yeah, it's impressive. And the theory is that McDaniels is going to come in and he's going to draw him up the run. I don't know if that necessarily is a benefit. Sometimes when you come in and you try to overplay your hand, it may not go your way. And McDaniels, he didn't impress me in Vegas. I'll say that. He never impressed me in Denver. So I'm hoping like the good time vibes of kind of him, you know, and Vrabel, you know, the expats going home to make it work and figure it out. God bless him. I hope it's there. I don't over invest in that offense in particular. I take some shots. I take some sprinkles.
Yeah, I see it as a situation where like Drake May is going to have to play hero ball, and you got so him fantasy wise, yes, he could sneak into the top 10 at quarterback. Okay,
Still a tough
but
argument.
that's going to be
yeah.
hard for him to do. Like he's going to have to.
There's so many good quarterbacks.
He's right. I mean, he's going to have to be rushing the ball as much as Josh Allen, really,
Yeah.
and that's what people's comparison is, right? Drake May, just a little smaller version of Josh Allen, but that being a little smaller makes a big difference because Josh Allen, I mean, how many of his touchdowns are on his own version of the tush push, right?
They were talking
Like,
about what was it? Cam Newton in Josh McDaniels'
Yeah.
offense. I was like, guys, like Cam Newton runs through people. He's a goal line back practically. Like they're not the same. You know, Drake May can't fight for yards. He can scoot and boot. He can definitely, you know, build something out of the play action. I think that is probably what you want to see. I don't think you want to see necessarily design runs because I couldn't tell you who the backup quarterback is even there. I mean, I know Sam Howell's the backup in Minnesota. I couldn't tell you who the backup is there. Is it Jacoby Brissett?
No, Brissett went somewhere else.
It's not going to be pretty.
I can't even think of who their backup is off the top of my head now.
Is it the Zap? Is
They
it
got-
the Zap attack? I think Bailey
No,
Zapp
he's
went to
even
KC.
Zapper. He's even somewhere else.
think he
I'm
went
going to
to
bring it
KC.
up now just because you piqued my interest on it. Where is Drake May? He went. Oh yeah, he went to
He's
the
up
back
there.
end of the second here.
Ooh, that's so high. Ahead of Bo Nix. Ahead of Bo Nix, who finished quarterback 7 as a rookie. That's so
Right.
just crazy to me.
Yeah, it really is, and I mean he's up to quarterback 6 and on keep trade cut. Like it's just
No, that's just
it's-
so wild.
yeah. Josh Dobbs.
Okay, all right. You know, it worked out for
It's somebody.
in Minnesota. In Minnesota, it
Yeah.
worked out.
Yeah.
System player. System player.
Right.
He can run. He can run.
Hey, Kevin O'Connell can make
I
make
love
something
it.
out of chicken shit.
I love it.
It's-
I love it.
So now that you bring that up, what are your? I mean, everybody's got their thoughts on JJ McCarthy. Where are you at? Are you taking a bunch of him in the best ball? If you like, I don't know which stacks you like. Do you like him with Hawk or
No, not Hawk.
I know Addison has the suspension, so it's kind of there. But you know, being tied with Justin Jefferson just makes J.J. McCarthy. I love the guy. Like I see a top 10 season possibly, very easily.
You're putting nail to head here because I only get J.J. McCarthy if I've drafted Justin Jefferson.
Okay.
I have very little to no T.J. Hawkinson. I don't know what's going on.
You're not buying him.
No. That is an overvalue if I've ever seen one. He should be parked behind Tucker Kraft. Why is he going higher than Tucker Kraft? Somebody like bring me to the well and let me drink the water because I don't see it. I don't see the light on him. Very low ADOT, was not a downfield threat like he was for Detroit. The touchdowns aren't there. I don't know. Maybe it can help having a less polished quarterback, someone that is going to want to check it down, but I just don't see him being of massive value. The big plays weren't there. The touchdowns weren't there. Nothing's really changed from last year to this year. If anything, there's more risk at quarterback because we have no idea what we're going to get. And the offense could take a step back, even if they don't use like Aaron Jones as much. If Aaron Jones is a big part of what they did last year, people are talking about him taking a back seat. That might not be the best thing. I mean, he was what really, kept them above water at times when Darnold would struggle and, kind of be looking for that, that big play that's going to bring us back, and he was able to get them for sure. But I felt like Aaron Jones was like, the key to unlocking this offense last season. So if he doesn't have as much of a role, if you're missing Addison, I feel like Hawk's going to be in trouble this year, whether, he gets, over attention or more attention from the defense or just gets lost in the mix. He's been someone that I've been off on. I like some of these other guys, but I really only get McCarthy, like we were saying, when I draft Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, Hawkinson went, right around where I have him ranked in my Dynasty rankings, at least. Now, I do have Kraft ahead of Hawkinson in my Dynasty rankings, but I'm pretty high on Kraft. I've got him 5th in Dynasty. Then Hawkinson and Warren and Loveland all in the same tier right there. It's been really hard for me to draft either Warren or Loveland, both in the rookie drafts I had, as well as any of these Dynasty startups. They're just not they're not the prospect Brock Bowers was. Okay, so you can put that argument to bed. Like, I know everybody's saying, well, Brock Bowers did it with nobody last year. Yeah, but Brock Bowers, he had 2 gunslingers. Yes, they suck, but Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell love to throw the ball, right? They're not getting Anthony Richardson.
And not far. They don't want to throw it downfield. They just want to throw it a lot, not far.
But they don't have Anthony Richardson. He didn't have Anthony Richardson trying to throw him the ball, or even Daniel Jones, for that matter. And then Loveland, as we talked about way back at the beginning, Loveland's just in a crowded situation. I don't see a Sam Laporta situation there. No. I mean, Cole Kmet doesn't suck, right? No. He's okay.
He's actually the elder statesman on the team. He is the player with the most years. He's the senior on the team now. Yeah.
Wow.
Cole Kmet. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's where I've been out on Warren and Loveland in pretty much all formats because they're just going too high. I would rather, if I'm drafting a rookie tight end, I'll dip down into that next level of tight end because this is a great tight end class. I'll give it that.
I use Warren as a backstop.
Yeah.
So if I don't have anybody yet, he's either going to be potentially my number 1 in a 3 tight end build, or he's going to be my 2 after a better tight end that I took.
Sure.
So I do like Loveland. I am buying. My thing with the Colts is I really like all of them. I've always loved Michael Pittman. I've been in on Josh Downs since he came into the league. I was super butthurt today when I got sniped on Jonathan Taylor. Wound up taking Drake London instead on the 3rd round reversal. It's fine. I live with it. But then I never drafted a running back in the draft, so maybe I was tilted. Who knows? I think and I believe that Dan Jones is going to start the majority of these games for the Colts.
There we go.
And I am buying that he's not going to be amazing, He's not.
No,
Gonna
he
be
doesn't
Sam,
have to be.
He's not going to be Sam Darnold from last year. He's probably going to be something similar of what you saw from Daniel Jones on the Giants, except he's going to have a much better offensive line. He's going to have a similar level of running back play out of Jonathan Taylor. Very good comp from Saquon Barkley still when Taylor is healthy. He's got better receivers. He's got a better passing game. And the Colts spent the draft capital. He's not Brock Bowers, but they spent Brock Bowers type of pricing for Tyler Warren. He's got the frame of a pulling guard. He's got the size. He's got hands. And they're talking about him getting rushing attempts. In a Steichen offense where we saw breakouts from Dallas Goedert, from Zach Ertz, I think this guy's going to be a priority in the offense. So I do get a fair amount of Warren. I think it's funny. I have like my top 5. I'll just try to pull it up really quickly here. Like my top five tight ends, they have all the same exact exposure for me. So out of 64 teams, it goes Jake Ferguson, Jonnu Smith, Mark Andrews, Evan Ingram, Zach Ertz, and Tyler Warren, and the spread is 18 to 15%.
Okay.
Yeah. So Tyler Warren is number 6. But the other guys are all, 300, 275, and then the next 3 are at 250, and that's Ingram, Ertz, and Warren. So he's definitely high up there for me. And it's not that I expect like the Sam Laporta, the Brock Bowers season.
Yeah.
I just think it's a good cost in an offense that has needed this type of tight end. Like they are desperate.
Yeah. Yeah. They've done enough of the Mo Alley Cox, Jelani Woods. Now, Jelani Woods, to be fair, was hurt. So, all of last year is a wash. But
Andrew Luck and Eric Ebron. Oh, my God.
Oh, Eric Ebron was. Now going back, though, the Colts had a tight end in the Manning years, and you're old enough to know. You know Dallas Clark.
Dallas Clark is my boy.
Dallas Clark is my comp to Tyler Warren. That is what Tyler Warren is and what they could hope for. I mean, I don't know how many handoffs Dallas Clark got.
I don't think he got many, but I think he definitely had a fullback blocker.
Yes. Yes, and, with tight ends, we're always looking for the guy who can be a top 2 option in their offense. And, Mason Taylor is the rookie that everybody's saying could be that for sure. But with that Colts offense and Daniel Jones, the way he throws, like I look back and it was either an 18 or 19% target share to his tight end, which was Evan Ingram that last year in New York. And so if you get a 19, 20% target share to Tyler Warren, I can buy into that a little bit, I guess.
I'm definitely there. And I think that people that want to doubt, like, oh, well, what about Anthony Richardson? And they're talking about him being healthy. I'm like, guys, he is not it. He is not it. So many people are desperate for him to work and for him to happen. He doesn't have the passing acumen. I do a betting show during the regular season, DGen Dads, and we were just breaking the bank on the under on his completions. It was free money. The skies were raining dollar bills on taking the under on his.
You could probably take the under this year.
In games that he plays, yeah.
Well, for the season right now? What's the Vegas line on his? Whatever his passing numbers, and I don't know take the under.
I don't know if they have any out for him because they have.
Yeah, they might have him off the board.
But he was getting legitimately. They had to drive the number down to 13. Because we were easily clearing, they were giving him 16, 17, 18. He's completing 11 passes. He's completing 9 passes. And we're just in the wind. Checks in the mail, sorry. It was brutal. I mean, great for us. I think there was a game or two where he did play spoiler. But in the terms of fantasy, that's not the guy that you want, right? And I think the Colts obviously have signaled, hey, we got caught with our pants down. Maybe we'll draft this dude's little brother. I mean, that kid had the voice of a 40-year-old during his draft interview.
So Daniel Jones, then, obvious steal wherever you're able. I don't know if I grabbed him in this startup, but I've been getting him in a lot of my startups.
He's a similar situation to JJ McCarthy. You got a Colt, stack him. You got Warren. You got Josh Downs. You got Pittman. Yeah, I mean, there's no real reason to go after him in best ball without having some correlation. You know, I wouldn't want.
Yeah, I
Dan
had
Jones to make
drafted
it.
Pittman. I had drafted Pittman about 5 rounds earlier, and
So there you go. Yeah.
yeah. And Pittman, another guy, man. The guy is a good player.
So good.
It's just awful the situation he's been put
Yep.
in there, and if he ends up, it's a dynasty startup that I got him in, and it was like round 15. It was insane,
Mm-hmm.
and so he could get traded. He could go anywhere.
Oh,
I mean,
Lord, that would be. Please to the Chiefs. Please to the
yeah.
Chiefs. Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
that would be beautiful. And then, Josh Downs could dominate
Mm-hmm.
in Indy, which he could do even this year.
Yeah, you could still
Um,
do it with Pittman there. I mean, I don't like to do this comp, but I see the Colts as being a big sleeper team this year. I don't like comping Michael Pittman to A.J. Brown. I don't like comping Josh Downs to Devontae Smith or Warren to Goddard or Taylor to Barkley, but I see it. I see it all there. These are like 2Bs to those players, but they all fit the type of molds and weapons that I think Steichen needs. So I think like the underlying, aspects are there for this offense to go forward. The biggest worst comp of it is Dan Jones to Jalen Hurts, but he can run and he can't throw the ball far. That's about it.
Steichen can make it happen. He's a good coach. I think
We'll see.
He ran into he got thrown into them drafting Anthony Richardson,
That's so
and
tough.
their old GM just saying no, you got to play him right away, which was stupid. But who knows that it would have made a difference if he sat a year anyway.
I hope the
Some
daughters,
guys
the
just
Ursays,
can't.
just step up and get out of here, Ballard. We've been on the
Right.
sidelines. We know what we're doing. Get out of here, Ballard.
I mean, some guys just can't throw the ball. That's really what it boils down to.
And do you want to bet on this guy just getting like the red zone package, just being like we're just gonna run him in, we're gonna let him play fullback, and we're just gonna let him, follow the A gap, just follow it, try your best, get in there. Oh, it didn't work.
So one last team I want to touch on here, whose ADP I see their players could surprise on, and that would be Carolina. And
yeah.
so you've got, the addition of Tet McMillan and Chuba Hubbard getting the contract, and so he looks like the guy in the backfield. And we mentioned Rico Dowdle a little bit earlier, but what do you see from Bryce Young, and where are you drafting him? Like, who is he right behind, and who is he just ahead of for you?
Good question on the right ahead and who behind. I'm going to look at the board for this. So just kind of like going through, I honestly still like him over Cam Ward. Cam Ward gets drafted ahead of him. Just has that rookie hype. But Bryce
Sure,
Young, Bryce Young had a lot of growing pains in year one. Cam Ward could absolutely have the same infliction. So
For sure.
I like him kind of a tie with Penix. Because I do like Michael Penix. I like what that offense can be. I'm trying to think of any other guy. Like, I'm smashing him over all the guys that went behind him.
What about Justin Fields?
Fields has a safer floor still, I think, with his rushing upside. He's a
Yeah.
different type of player based on the rushing upside. And rushing in fantasy is just like, I mean, if you're playing with 1 point for 10 yards rushing,
Yeah.
he's a massive value over Bryce Young. Bryce Young can scoot, but he's more of just like, hey, let's keep the play alive. Let's extend a drive. Maybe he's not going to risk it or, run circles in the
Right.
backfield and then try to break it upfield. He's not going to do that.
No.
So I would still have Fields ahead of him, but I'm looking like I would feel more comfortable taking Young over McCarthy. Obviously, again, just based on uncertainty, but I think that's kind of the backstop. Like, again, all the guys that he's ahead of on this board, he's an easy pick over. At least in Dynasty, like this one season alone, I could see Geno being a better click.
Sure.
But overall, I think those two are very close. As far as the offense, this is just completely playing poker with the receivers. You've got Tet McMillan. You've got Adam Thielen. I drafted too much Adam Thielen. I'll tell you that right now.
No, I just got Coker in the last one that I did, but
so yeah, keep going. So Jalen Coker, Xavier Legette, brother, they added Hunter Renfrow. Like for Dave Canales loves
about
Hunter Renfrow for some reason. I'm not saying to do it, but I think Terrace Marshall is finally gone, so you don't need to worry about him. Jatavian Sanders and Tommy Tremble, that's a whole enigma within itself. I'd kind of love for them to trade for Dallas Goedert, to be honest. I love Jatavian Sanders. I want him to break out. But I wanted that to be last year. He kind of let me down.
Yeah, I just don't know if there's too many mouths to feed there. I don't know that he can jump everybody. He basically has to jump everybody but Tet. Right?
The thing about that group though is you don't know who to spotlight. You don't know who's supposed to be the guy on a given play. So I think you get some leniency to Bryce Young. He doesn't need to force anything to anyone. He just needs to hit his open guys. And I think you could see, a blend of what you kind of saw last year from the Bears and the Packers. Like the Packers, they didn't have a guy, but the offense was pretty good, right? Like they just didn't.
And Tucker Kraft was pretty decent there.
Yeah, but that's not going to be JT.
It was okay.
I would love it.
I'm just saying, he outproduced his ADP.
He did. No, he absolutely did. But the receivers, man, like I cannot put my finger on any of them.
I avoid the Packers receivers like a plague. I can't. It's just sickening. You don't know what you're getting week to week. And I mean, in best ball, it's okay. Like I had a Jordan Love share where I ended up with, I had Jaden Reed and Watson and Dobbs, all of them. And, it was still gross. It just, now with Matthew Golden getting thrown in there too now, that's just
super tough. Yeah. And he doesn't fit like any specific mold that you would be like, oh, well, I can bet on him in this scenario, or I can bet on him in this. Like, no, you need to bet on that he can out-snap Dobbs and Jaden Reed. And that's a tough bet in this offense, I think, still. But with the Panthers, like you don't know who's going to lead the team in snaps for receiver. It could be Tet. It could be Thielen. I draft a lot of Thielen because I know that he will play. And he's so cheap. If he's healthy, he's going to play, and he's won people money. He's won like the big tournaments for people in Week 17. So I just don't think you can turn a cheek on him, and then you just gracefully sprinkle in the Cokers and the Legettes. I don't love Legette. I think he is like
me neither.
Like the biggest down version of like DK Metcalf. Like if DK Metcalf is a baby of Calvin Johnson, then Legette is a baby of DK Metcalf. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not the same thing. And he's weirdly not smart. He's weirdly dumb. Every time I see him on social media,
and that's not good when you need him.
I mean,
they
dumb.
They want him to be. It seems to me they want him to be like the Deebo Samuel, right? Kind of, but he doesn't seem like he has the acumen. Deebo is a smart player, right? You have to be knowledgeable. A, to be in the Shanahan offense, and B, to, play in all those different spots. And Legette just, he looked lost out on the field last year. And, there could be some games where if Renfrow makes the team, like, I'm not saying he's going to be a healthy scratch necessarily, but you could see, I mean,
look out. That guy is, he's a worker. And they apparently really love him. Really showed up on tape in minicamp. I'm excited for him. Everybody just thought he was like kind of like just like, oh, he's kicked out of the league. He's not good. Like he had like some like I don't know, some type of disease or some shit he was dealing with. He lost
really?
He lost he lost a ton of weight. Obviously he wound up getting cut. But it was like it's gonna drive me crazy. I want to say it's something like OVS.
Okay.
Something like that. I can't remember what it was, but he's fully recovered. And I mean,
wow.
I don't know if he's going to be the same of what he was, but he's like a route running guy, change of pace guy.
Oh yeah.
He's white boy Keenan. He's white boy Keenan Allen.
Basically, yeah. And those are the kind of players coaches like. And if Legette is not getting things straight, then Renfro's just going to get more snaps than him. That'll be the bottom line. So are you taking any Tet McMillan where he's going in your underdog drafts? Or you love his spot? Or where is he going really?
Yeah, he's going right ahead of DJ Moore typically. So I take a lot of DJ. But obviously, you're looking at your exposures and you're kind of counterbalancing.
Yeah.
So,
You don't want zero exposure of anybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I get the Tet at that spot. I get Mike Evans at that ADP as well. So kind of just balancing off of those guys.
Okay.
I'll probably have a fair amount of Tet and Roma Dunze combinations because, like I said, if I don't get DJ, I'm going to go back and bring Rome back. So if I get Tet, it's likely, I'll get the rookie, then I'll get the sophomore. And best ball, you also want to target, like, obviously a lot of youth for potential explosion plays, in weeks, 15 through 17. That's when they're really on the uptick. So yeah, those are definitely two players that I'll love at their ADP. Mike Evans definitely doesn't fit that mold though. Definitely up there in the age.
Yeah, but he still can produce.
Still does. Still does.
Baker, I'm looking forward to the season for the Bucks. Their offense. I'm not worried that Liam Cohen left. They just promoted the offensive the quarterbacks coach. He's going to run a similar offense.
It's the same thing with the Lions. Like there's going to be continuality, and it's good to have the same minds in the room because those guys, those coaches, they were in the same meetings with those offensive coordinators, right? Like there's a continuation of the same conversation. And I think that a lot of people overreact to those narratives, like, with Tampa, with the Lions, like, oh, no, it won't be as good. Like, no, I mean, it'll be different for sure, but you shouldn't just assume, like, oh, it's going to completely plummet, for those reasons.
Yeah. I like to take guys on teams where it's a completely new offense when they were bad, okay? Because then you have that positive, I hate the term positive regression. It doesn't make any sense. It's just progression.
Well, it's what Liam Cohen did for the Buccaneers offense, right? It went from bottom 3 in rushing to top 3 in rushing, right? Like that's what you're looking for, that type of volatility. Even Rachaad White was still a home run last year. He played very, very well for the majority of the season. It's just that the younger guy, those weeks, 14 through 17, he just absolutely took off. He's, just a young kid. We see it all the time.
Yeah, the key for the Bucks, they went from 2.4 touchdowns a week to 3.4 touchdowns a week, which jumped them into the top 10. And I've got that chart up on my Patreon where it shows which teams changed offensive coordinators. So you should highlight those and take a look, because going back to the previous year's chart that I also did it for, it was like 65% of the teams that changed coordinators upped their touchdowns per game. So, at first I had done it because it was 2 years ago. I did it, in fact, because of the Bucks and the narrative around Dave Canales leaving. And so I was curious just to do a study on some of the teams. And initially I did it with, was your offensive coordinator forced out? Like, did he leave by choice? Or did you fire your offensive coordinator? Because there's a difference there. If your organization is looking to go a completely different direction, then that might be the talent, right? It might not have been the coach. But if your offensive coach leaves, and that's what happened to Kansas City with Eric Bieniemy, remember?
Oh,
and then they had the downfall.
We all wanted him.
Yeah, everybody wanted him, right? But the Chiefs had a downfall after that year, but I don't know that was necessarily because Bieniemy left. There was a lot of factors in there with Kansas City going downhill. But back to the Bucks and the chart, like I don't know if they can produce again at 3.4 touchdowns a week. That's high, but they could. And who knows? I mean, Baker in a lot of formats was top 5 last season.
Yep.
For me, he's a huge steal in Dynasty drafts right now, going in round 4, because if you want to bypass that little mini tier of young quarterbacks that are kind of getting overdrafted, the Drake Mays, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, CJ Stroud, even Justin Herbert, Baker outscored all those guys last year. And what reason do you have to think, other than now Tristan Wirfs getting hurt, right? Which is going to be bigger than you think for the first month. But still, what other reason is there really to think that Baker's going to produce at a lower level than what he did last year? So, I mean,
the offense is better. You get Igbuka, right? You get Godwin back. That's at least what they're saying. McMillan can still take a step forward. A very good talent, scored a lot of touchdowns last year. The offense got better. I mean, even if Wirfs is hurt, I mean, they should be fine. And I mean, there's an argument to take Baker over Mahomes at this point. Like, Mahomes has been a shell of himself in fantasy the last 2 seasons, and he has nowhere near the weapons.
And they have better
that Baker
weapons.
has. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So to me, Baker's an absolute home run.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think that is there anybody else you wanted to touch on for the fans out there that maybe a team that you could look at that you see surpassing what you mentioned the Colts, so we can tell that's one of your teams. Anybody else?
The stack that I think is just is going to make me a millionaire is Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp. It's just not expensive at all. I am into Kubiak's offense. He brought over from the Saints. If you look last year, while they did run a lot of play action and they ran the ball a lot, they were very successful in big plays, especially early in the season. Before we saw the Shaheed injury and Derek Carr get hurt, they were really pushing the ball.
Oh, yeah, they were
field.
Looking good. Yeah, and
And
Shaheed was smashing.
They brought in MVS as well. They brought in Cooper Kupp. They really like Sam Darnold. Everyone in the public, on Twitter and articles I read everywhere, everyone is in that Jalen Milroe is going to be starting by like week 8 or 9. And I just
want it because of the wheels. Yeah,
Of course.
Sure.
But that will not put the team in a position to win games.
No.
I'm sorry. It will not. And Mike McDonald is the real deal. Like he is there to win games. Coming from the Harbaugh tree out of Baltimore, very, very serious coach. And the words out of his mouth that I'm trusting is like, Sam is our guy. Going and getting a veteran like Cooper Kupp is huge. And everyone says, no different. Like if you're drafting CMC, you should be drafting Cooper Kupp because all the reports about their health are exactly the same. This guy's an A+.
Okay.
This guy looks like the best shape he's been in his entire life. He's meshing with the offense. He looks like he's going to be a priority. The difference is that CMC's ADP is in the top 28 picks, and Cooper Kupp is in back in the 80s, 90s, 100s.
Right.
This is going to be an offense that is going to take people by surprise. They have a lot of weapons in the run game, in Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet.
Yep.
JSN had 100 receptions last year, can definitely, eat and help move the chains. I think they have an untapped offense here. They just cut Noah Fant as well. I was
going to mention that. Yep. So they must like Arroyo. I mean,
they must like him, but at the same time, I think that this just clearly benefits the receivers, right?
Yeah.
There's not going to be a tight end that's there whose purpose is to steal targets. That's that's my big push on him getting cut, is that the tight end probably isn't going to be a priority, and they're using him pass blocking, low A dot. Maybe we get some touchdowns out of Arroyo. Maybe he could be, a spark plug for the offense. That would be great if he was somehow this year's, Laporta or Brock Bowers or whatever. But when I see a guy like Cooper Kupp that gets a fresh start, and kind of, was dismissed, right? I mean, they moved on from, from him to Devontae Adams. They're both kind of
which
like that.
Seemed pretty even to me. It didn't seem like a huge,
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like there's a bit of a chip on his shoulder. I will buy every bit of that chip of Cooper Kupp. So that is a stack. It's my most common stack. So the highest quarterback that I have is Sam Darnold. The highest receiver that I have and player overall, I believe, is Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp, Kupp, you're probably getting him 4 or 5 rounds after Devontae Adams.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild, and I could see him still having. I think it's a tough bet. I think it's a tough bet for him to have over 100 receptions, but he's a guy that can easily do it. We've seen.
What does Vegas have his over under at? It can't be even close to that.
I would bet it's 85 or 89. I would bet it's 85 or 89. I think those
if he gets
are
anywhere
numbers.
close to that, you're getting paid back at where you're drafting him.
I'm telling everyone, you will be paid in full.
That's ridiculous.
If this guy is healthy. If he's healthy for 17 games, wide receiver 5 is well within his reality of finishes. It's there.
And it seems like an offense that, much like the Rams, where they funnel, just like the the Dolphins also, where they have one of the higher rates of funneling to the wide receiver 1 and 2s. I don't see. I wrote Arroyo on the show notes, but I don't see Arroyo as like, no, Sam Laporta or Brock Bowers. I like the guy. I think he was a great player, but with those two receivers there, Arroyo's going to have a tough time cracking, the top 15 at tight end.
Might be an open door for Torrey Horton.
Torrey Horton, yeah. Well, he'll be running a lot of fly patterns with MVS.
Yeah.
But he might be able to catch the ball.
MVS was a big late round pick for me in the big board. I've settled down since then. But when I saw that he followed Kubiak, I was like, this is money. The guy was like, I think he's averaging almost like 4 fantasy points per touch. Something stupid.
Wow. But he's got to catch it.
He does. Apparently Kubiak was able to figure that out. I don't know how, but he left the Packers and was just like, oh yeah, I do explosive things now.
All right. Well, do you want to mention to the fans where they can catch you at, Justin?
Yeah, absolutely. I am on the old Twitter X machine at Bestball Bruni. Always dropping content over there, typically daily. I write for the Fantasy Six Pack Network, so I do best ball articles for them, and then I also host shows for the Fanspeak Network. We do live drafts, go into player discussions, different breakdowns of analytics, and of course we have Best Ball Jeopardy as well. We have a
I love that.
show.
I checked out a couple of those episodes, dude. They're awesome.
It's been very wild. I definitely have to do my part to try and get Davis Maddock versus Willie Knows Ball round 1 next year. That's going to be important to try and figure out how to do. Gotta give the people what they want. But no, we're having a lot of fun over there. It's been a good time. We do a full 30 question Jeopardy board every week. And we're going to be rolling that through the end of Best Ball Summer. We've been doing a tournament. I think the biggest name still left is Neil Orfield. We just had Herzig go down in the last round, and Pete Overzet did perform very well, but he's had to duck out just because it's schedule obligations, stuff like that. We're all over the place trying to post, draft, podcast, all that jazz. So. It's been a lot of fun. We do that every Wednesday night. Come jump in the chat, test your best ball knowledge. Bi-week math, just a spoiler, it's going to hurt your brain. So if you really want to nail some correct answers on bi-week math, you're going to need to know your buys. You're going to need to know your math.
There you go. Yes, check it out. Some great stuff going on over there. Well, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe. We've got some more stuff, a lot more stuff coming up this week for you. More training camp news, more stuff on Dynasty startups. And you can check out my rankings now. They're all up to date on the Patreon, patreon.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. You can buy me a coffee, buymeacoffee.com/Birdhouse Dynasty Show. If you've got any immediate questions you need answered, I can help you out with that as well. But the best way to get in touch would be through the Patreon. The chat is live and going heavy and hard. We do the trade analysis there for you and whatever other questions you may have. So check it out. It's just $3 a month right now. That's about as cheap as you can get anywhere out there. So please do so. And with that, I want to thank Justin for joining us tonight. Great time here, even if he is a Cubs fan. We've tied you up now. We're ready for the stretch run. It's been fun.
Do your thing, man. I've checked.
I know you hate us Brewer fans.
Yeah, I've checked out of baseball for a while. It's funny. I moved from Illinois the year that they won the World Series, and I don't know what it is, man. I don't have like this intimate relationship with these players. Like when you go through a rebuild sometimes, and you just have to be bad and bad and bad. Like it can be tough to be connected to a team. Like it's 162 games. Baseball is
so long. I know.
So tough.
And I honestly will only. I mean, it's football starts right now, and it's like it's impossible to stay. It, and I love my Brewers. They're a bunch of nobodies doing it somehow, and I don't get it. But I mean, they're playing Moneyball in 2025, and it's working. But
Good on
you
them.
know,
Yeah. I mean, I'm all into
until you
that.
have any success, in the actual postseason, doesn't
I'm all
really matter.
into the underdogs. People not spending money in baseball and winning. That's what I'm into because it's just like it's a ridiculous sport.
Yeah.
If the NFL could do that,
It is.
it would be insane if they could
And
just
that-
throw the money at the players.
Oh yeah, that's how it was in the '80s, and I that's the one thing I hated about football. You know, it was always in the '80s the NFC teams dominated, and they kept the Niners just had the same players over and over and over again. And then in the '90s it was the Cowboys and the Niners, right? And they just steamrolled over everybody. The salary cap's the best thing that happened, and it makes baseball really gross. But you know what? When the Brewers can sweep the Dodgers twice in the last 2 weeks, and their $400 million payroll, I don't know. See, I don't know. They could just end the season right now, as far as I'm
that's the
concerned.
thing is like, what does it matter even? Like, oh, we lost 7 games that we shouldn't in the regular season. We finished 4
Yeah.
games above 500 in the regular season, and we're going to the playoffs. Woohoo!
Yeah.
What
yeah.
is that? No one
So-
cares. It's the same thing like with the NBA.
No.
It's like, yeah, we don't need to play tonight. It's November. It's November. We don't.
Right.
What are we doing here?
No, but the NFL, it's only a 17 game season now, but
Yeah.
they all matter.
As I like to
Yeah.
say, any given day of the week, because we play the NFL now like any day. It could be like, they're like, it's Tuesday at noon and we got a game kicking off here. You're like, on
They
Tubi.
could schedule a game at noon every day of the week,
It would
and
be
the
there.
ratings would be
Yeah.
there.
They
The
would-
ratings would be
They
there.
would be. They would be. It is sick in that aspect, but there's no game that these guys can take off. You know, like it's just not. That's not possible. I remember.
I want
Joe
to see them
Milton-
do what they need to do. They got to make. They'll make it an 18 game season at some point. We all know that, but they need to make it 20 weeks. Give the guys 2 weeks, two bye weeks,
Yep.
and then it'll make. And why wouldn't the NFL want to do that? That just adds a
Exactly.
whole nother week
Yep.
to the regular season. So
And
I think
I think I saw Joe Burrow make that same recommendation.
Yeah.
He also
Yeah.
added in to put them in the middle of like the Pro Bowl in the middle of the season.
they
so
wanted
that
to
it's-
do that. That's not going to happen. But
so that it's like 3 weeks. But just make it games, you know, like carnival games for the NFL play. That's all it is now. It's not even the real Pro Bowl.
right,
You know.
right.
Let's
And
just
the
see
Pro
how
Bowl I
many-
could care less about.
Exactly.
I still want them to play. I think what Burrow was saying is that they completely take off. Like everybody gets a bye. And
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
not what I'm talking about.
Oh no.
No, like
Okay.
2 bye weeks randomly, just
Right.
like they do it, starting in week 5 and run them through week 13 or 14 till Thanksgiving, basically.
Right.
Yeah, and just split them up randomly, but everybody gets 2 weeks off.
No, I'm
and,
I'm,
I
I'm
think
good with
they
more
could
rest
make
for the
that.
boys. It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
And if they're gonna make the Players Association happy, I think that's something that they'll have to heavily consider doing.
1000%.
Yeah, I'm all for keeping the good quality talent on the field and not them sitting on the sideline hurt. Because when you get bad quarterback play, there's nothing worse than watching 2 backup quarterbacks play on a Sunday night football game. It's rough. So, yeah. As much as I dislike Aaron Rodgers' attitude, the fact that he's playing in Pittsburgh, it just makes all of their primetime games that more entertaining, really.
We should hope. We should hope.
We should hope. Yes. All right, Justin. Thanks again for joining tonight. Hopefully we'll have you back soon. And good luck this year on all your underdog leagues. I hope I am speaking to the Mania winner. Do it.
I've seen it.
I've got a couple.
I've seen it.
Actually, not. I want you to take second. I do have a few teams myself. I've got about
Second pays
I've only got
pretty well.
I've only got about 10 teams in there, so I'm not. It's not my gig, but
Second pays pretty good, so I would take it.
hey, I'll take 5th. I don't. That pays fine too.
Yeah, exactly. A couple of
All right.
finals teams and a top 10 finish, we'll be all right.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Thank you again for joining. And remember, folks out there, never stop working.